Meta has plans to spend up to $135 billion on AI this year. But why? OpenAI already has the biggest chatbot, Google still owns search, Anthropic is winning the enterprise market, even Apple will be releasing their own smart glasses. And honestly, it's hard to see how more AI slot makes Facebook or Instagram any better. At first glance, AI doesn't seem to have a natural place in Meta's core business, and yet Zuckerberg is betting the company's entire future on it. In this video, I want to map out Meta's full AI strategy, piece by piece, because when everything ties together, you'll see that even though their strategy isn't obvious immediately, they might actually be one of the only companies that make serious money from AI. So let's get into it. All right, so before we can talk about how Meta is reinventing itself around AI, all of this, we first need to understand how the company works currently. That way we can see how all the new stuff they're doing fits into their existing business model and how it's going to be changing as well. This thing though is a bit of a mess right now. It'll be easier if I just start from scratch. So there we go, that's a lot better. Right, so Meta's core business ultimately boils down to 3 pillars. The first one is what you and I and probably most people know Meta for: Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, Threads. This is Meta's family of apps. They're core consumer-facing products where they serve more than 3.5 billion users every day. Secondly, we have advertising. Scroll through Instagram or Facebook right now and you will see an ungodly amount of ads. So you can basically think of this as the place where businesses come where they want to place one. This is how Meta makes like 98% of its money as well.
Senator, we run ads.
And the third core pillar is AI research. This is what ties everything together. AI is a vital part of Meta's business. It always has been, even before ChatGPT and the whole AI boom, because the algorithms behind both Meta's apps and their ad tech are practically the beating heart of the entire business. On the app side, Meta's AI research teams design algorithms that find the best content for every user, or at least the content that's going to keep them on the app for as long as possible. That way, they can show them more ads on every session. It's like magic. On the advertising side, those same research teams design algorithms for user targeting. They learn who their users are, their preferences, and what they're interested in so that the right ads get served to the right people. And they lead to better results for the companies that buy them. Obviously, that's in Meta's interest because if a business is seeing a return on their ad spend, they're going to keep spending. Also, I forgot to add this. It's like the main thing that's supposed to be there. Just gonna do it right now. Now, Meta's AI research teams do a lot more than this, and we'll get to that in a second. But now that you see the 3 core pillars of the business, you can see that Meta's business model, at least in its current form, ultimately boils down to a very simple formula. Ad revenue equals users times engagement times conversions. This is where the users come from, this is where they optimize for engagement, and this is where they optimize for conversions. Whenever any of these goes up, Meta makes more money. Currently, it makes them just over $200 billion a year, so yeah, the system works remarkably well. All right, so now that we've seen how Meta's existing business works, users times engagement times conversions, we can actually start to look at the first phase of their AI strategy, which really just comes down to increasing all of these variables. One of the best examples of this is AI-generated content. Over the past few years, Meta's AI research teams have been building increasingly sophisticated generative AI models for video. They even launched Vibes, an entire app just for that. It's basically Zuck's version of Sora. Now, Vibes is more of an experiment than anything. Meta just wants to learn how people interact with AI video because theoretically, it's going to let them make personalized content for every one of their users. And if that content keeps people on the apps, then adding it is a no-brainer. As long as they find the right balance of content between friends, actual human creators, and personalized AI slop, engagement goes up and they make more money. But that's just one way AI content adds to the formula. The more important connection actually happens on the advertising side, where Meta is building what Zuck describes as
the ultimate business results machine.
Typically, advertising on any Meta app works like this. They do all the hard work of segmenting their billions of users into neat little categories, and you, as a business owner, do all the hard work of creating ads for your products. But what if Meta could take care of your side of the equation as well? Well, with AI, that is exactly what they can do. Instead of you making the ads, you just connect your bank account, tell Meta what your product is, they create thousands of ads for you, they find the right people to show them to, they personalize the images, the headlines, then copy for every person, they run A/B tests, they see what gets results and they improve the ads based on that, and they repeat the process as many times as you tell them to. If you're a business owner and this actually leads to better results, you're gonna tell them to do it a lot.
Now we're gonna be able to come up with like 4,000 different versions of your creative and just test them and figure out which one works best. The basic end goal here is Any business can come to us, say what their objective is, tell us how much they're willing to pay to achieve those results, and then we just deliver as many results as we can.
So again, Meta is using AI to increase the conversions variable, which based on their existing revenue model simply means more money. For anyone with a job in advertising though, yeah, it's not looking so good. So that's how AI fits into Meta's strategy as the company currently exists. So like I said at the start, this story is about more than just selling more ads. It's about Meta completely reinventing itself. But before we can keep breaking down their AI strategy, there is one question we need to answer, which is, what does Meta want to become? Now, the answer to that is simple. Meta desperately wants to be a platform company. But the thing is, they've tried to become one many times, and unfortunately, it's never really worked out for them. Let me show you what I mean. Back in the late 2000s, when Meta was still Facebook and Facebook was one of the most visited websites on the internet, it was slowly but surely starting to feel like a place. By that, I mean people were using it to talk to their friends, to start groups, to plan events, to read news, and even sell stuff. Millions of people were interacting with each other in thousands of different ways, and that's when Zuckerberg realized something. Facebook was turning into a platform. This was a massive opportunity. Not only could they monetize the main feed with ads, they could also take a cut from everything else happening in there. And so they began doing a bunch of stuff like letting other businesses build third-party apps on top of the Facebook website. Unfortunately though, Zuckerberg was obsessed with making Facebook the platform or the web, because at the time that's where pretty much all of their users were. But that changed very fast. Today, somewhere around 98.5% of people who use Facebook use it primarily through their phones. More than 80% of people use it there exclusively. So thinking about Facebook as the platform for the web was a mistake, because even though you can still play Candy Crush inside of Facebook, most people just download the app on their phones. The real platform was the smartphone. It was iOS and Android. So the ones taking a cut out of everything happening over the internet are Apple and Google, not Facebook.
The thing that's complicated for us is we deliver our services through our competitor. Apple and Google, two of our biggest competitors. It is awkward.
Now, because of this, Zuck took some very aggressive steps to kind of get Meta on the same weight class. First, they had to survive mobile, right? So they acquired Instagram, and at the same time, Facebook kept growing and they built out Messenger and Marketplace. They bought WhatsApp and started Threads. They expanded beyond just Facebook to adopt the whole family of app strategy. And it's actually quite impressive, because while individually every app is limited in scope, together they create a network effect that multiplies their value and effectively behaves as a sort of platform. That's why Meta is worth over $1.5 trillion. Even under Apple and Google's thumb, they are still the quintessential apps company. But unfortunately for Zuck, even though the family of apps looks like a platform, when push comes to shove, the illusion breaks, and you can see why Meta is still so vulnerable. In 2022, for example, Apple rolled out an update forcing apps to ask their users for permission to track them across other apps and websites. Obviously, nobody's going to click allow on that, so Meta's ad targeting and content algorithms suddenly became a lot less effective. Engagement and conversions went down, and companies bought fewer ads from them. All told, this little update cost Meta more than $12 billion in revenue, and the stock lost $230 billion in value, a 75% drop from its peak. It's stuff like this that haunts Meta, and it's why Zuck is so desperate to build a true platform that he actually controls. The metaverse was that. Most people think Zuck just lost it, but it was a calculated bet. He wanted to control the hardware, and at that point, they did make the best VR headsets. Nobody wanted the metaverse though, so it failed catastrophically. But Zuck still wants the same thing, not to be an apps company, but to own a real platform. And now with the whole metaverse phase behind us, thankfully, he's rebuilding the entire company around two new bets, two new platforms that he wants to control. And that brings us back here. So the first platform Zuck wants to own is what he calls personal superintelligence. Basically, personal superintelligence is your main general purpose AI assistant that gets to know you over time and helps you do stuff. If you're thinking, well, that's just ChatGPT, then you're kind of right, but it actually goes a lot further than that. See, the ChatGPT app on your phone is not all of AI. It is just one interface where you interact with it, in this case, through a chat app. Meta has its own version of that too. It's the Meta AI app, which I'll just place right here. But there are a lot of other ways to interact with AI. You use it on the dedicated app on your phone, inside other apps, on your browser. Meta has their smart glasses, which we'll talk about in a second. We also know that Google and Apple and OpenAI are going to be releasing new products where you can interact with AI as well. So personal superintelligence isn't any one of these interfaces. It's the backend layer that connects them all without you even noticing. And the reason this is a platform is that, well, in the future, we are probably going to use AI assistants for a lot of stuff through a lot of different interfaces. places, at work, in your personal life, on and offline. And in a world like that, the shared layer of context that ties everything together becomes really important. Like if you're allergic to certain kinds of foods or you're on some sort of prescription medicine, you probably don't want your AI assistant to forget that. And because of that, there is a massive cost to switching your personal superintelligence provider, or whatever you want to call it. Think of it like switching phones. You always end up having to log into a bunch of accounts, which sucks. With superintelligence, it's exactly like that, but your new AI has to relearn every little fact or piece of context about you that your previous one already knew. And you will probably also have to log into it as well, so it's twice as bad. All this is to say, personal superintelligence is a huge platform in the making, and one with very strong user lock-in dynamics. That's why you see Meta pushing AI into every one of their apps. They want to establish themselves as your default as early as possible, before someone else does. Because again, Google, OpenAI, and even Apple are fighting to dominate this platform as well. Interestingly though, Meta is in a unique position to benefit from owning the personal superintelligence layer. And you can see that when you start connecting it with the rest of the business. First of all, being able to chat with Meta AI on the platforms can lead to more engagement, kind of like Grok inside of X. But more importantly, think about all of the information you can extract from these things. I mean, people tell ChatGPT their trauma, their insecurities, their ambitions, their medical concerns, their financial problems. They tell things they wouldn't even tell their closest friends. Maybe it's a little dystopian, but if people use Meta's chatbot like that, just imagine how much more they could personalize your ads. More engagement, more conversions, more money. Oh, and also, before I forget, it's the AI research teams who build all the tech behind Meta AI, so I'll just add this right here. So that is one of the new platforms Meta wants to own, but there is another one, and arguably it's the most ambitious of them all: hardware. Meta believes that smart glasses could become one of the next major computing platforms, and they're not the only ones. There are credible reports that Google, Apple, and even OpenAI are planning to enter this category themselves with their own products. But Meta has one key advantage over them. They've already spent years building some of the world's most advanced virtual and augmented reality tech. So it turns out that the metaverse was not a total waste of time. Now, this is fundamentally different from everything we've talked about before. Up until now, most of Meta's strategy has just been finding incremental ways to improve their existing revenue model, to just sell more ads. But hardware is not an optimization. It is a deliberate attempt to transform Meta into something completely new. Right now, Meta is essentially a family of social media apps. They cannot realistically compete with iOS and Android because they don't own a major operating system. But imagine a world where Meta controls one of the core devices through which millions, eventually billions of people access technology in their daily lives. That opens up an entirely different class of opportunities. Like, look at Apple. Because they make the devices and the operating system, they can monetize every service on top of it. Maps, Apple Music, TV Plus, the App Store, Apple Pay. I mean, just think about like Apple Care. They've built a multi-billion-dollar insurance company based on the fact that they sell physical devices. It's kind of crazy. That is the company Meta wants to become. Eventually, at the right scale, manufacturing the glasses themselves could become profitable. And there are a lot of interesting ways they'll interact with personal superintelligence. But more importantly, these glasses could turn Meta's little family of apps, which already make it $1 trillion company, into an entire ecosystem, into a true platform, finally. Now, of course, Zuckerberg is not naive about the fact that he will have competition. He has actually admitted that the moment Apple releases smart glasses, people will default to the ecosystem they're already in. But Zuck isn't betting that the current generation of smart glasses is the one that'll finally win him the platform he's been after for so long. He's betting that by innovating more and by staying ahead of everyone else, by winning many small battles, they can slowly build adoption over the years and ultimately win the war.
We're not a company that has like built operating systems and computing platforms. So my general assumption is if we show up the same year as Apple or Google with Android, if they build the same AR glasses the same year, I kind of assume the tie goes to them. My view is that we have to be better and earlier. But I mean, look, we're doing it.
Honestly, you can debate how popular smart glasses will be. You can debate the cost and the competition, but I mean, Zuck could have stopped at building the quintessential apps company. Instead, he's spending hundreds of billions of dollars to build genuinely innovative hardware to compete with the largest companies on the planet. The ambition is undeniable. So that is Meta's entire AI strategy, at least all the major parts. We can go into like WhatsApp business agents, but this is the big picture. Overall, at least to me, it seems compelling. They're making ambitious bets for the future, and they're going to be difficult to win, but they're also adding immense amounts of value to their existing business along the way. So it's like they're trying to reinvent the wheel, but also just making it spin faster. We'll see what happens over the next few years. Maybe Zuck will finally achieve his mission to become a platform company. Maybe not, only time will tell. But at the very very least, it's really cool to see them try. Either way, thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe, and here's another video about how AI is killing an entire business model. I'll see you in the next one.